Hello, everybody, and welcome to Minds One Podcast. Raymond,
Nathan.
and before we get started, just to let you guys know if you wanted to listen to an audio version only of the podcast, it's available on Apple Podcast, and we'll put a link in the description below.
Forgot to
All
say what
right.
episode number we're on.
Yeah, I was about to. You just jumping the gun there, buddy. We're on episode 17.
Yes, sir.
To that big 20.
20.
Yeah.
So,
And we got 7 subscribers.
whole 7.
Hell yeah! We started with 0.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So,
At least someone else is enjoying our talks.
So,
Yeah.
expectations.
Expectations. That's what you want to talk about today, huh?
Mm-hmm. Specifically, people's expectations of others. When you look at a lot of the simple problems that arise in people's lives are somehow usually stem from expectations.
You mean like how you get disappointed or you might get angry at somebody?
Or you're scared.
Yeah, or
You're scared
you
to do
fear
something because you're scared of the expectations that other people hold of you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, expectations are such a large thing that they, it's very common for children to, fear the expectations of their parents or work hard to uphold them or
fear
be paralyzed
of not
by them.
meeting the expectations of their parents. Yes.
Of not meeting the expectations of whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like people who get anxious at their job because their boss might have them, do something, and that causes anxiety because now there's an expectation of a certain level of quality of work that needs to be
the expectation
upheld.
of how hard a task could be. That's another one that hits people. Like it hits you personally. It's not like an expectation of someone else, but that's like self-imposed. Like you. Yeah, I know this maybe for some people is really hard to. Like some tasks seem daunting because you just can't see the steps.
Yeah.
Because you've never done it, or X, Y, and Z, right? That could definitely cause you grief, anxiety.
I'd say it causes a lot of people anxiety. I think the main thing that expectations cause is anxiety. Second thing, it would be sadness, or I don't know how else to describe it, but
self-doubt, I think, would be one, a little bit, or you're too hard on yourself too, like you don't meet your expectations, so you beat yourself up for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that expectations do, especially when it gets into relationships, and I'm not talking about romantic relationships.
Just relationships in period.
Yeah, just relationships in general, because any sort of interaction you have with another human is a relationship, be it brother, sister, friend,
parents,
uncles, aunts, loved one, partner, whatever it may be. But those expectations, like you said, can sometimes be self-imposed or imposed, externally. Like, I know it's very common for parents to have expectations of their children when they show an inkling of being good at something, like for example school, and their expectations are they need to do good in school, you have to do good in school, you're smart, and things like that, and which can lead to all kinds of cascading repercussions of idolizing simplicity as smartness, or equating failure to bad because of the expectations placed upon a child or a person, and these kinds of feelings, they don't go away with stepping into adulthood. They if not dealt with and not properly acknowledged, they ripple into
for some people
into
it
your adulthood, and it affects you.
it
And
traumatizes them or causes other things, other
so
problems.
I feel like traumatized is a very powerful phrase or powerful word or strong word.
Strong word.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it gives them a sense of trauma, not in the sense of like they're so afraid to do things, but
I mean,
it becomes like a part of their personality.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that then they have to work on later. But it also causes fear of failure.
Well, that specific, expectation
when
success.
it's like
The expectation of
yeah,
success, yes.
yeah, of doing good.
Yeah, of being
School,
good, or
yeah,
just being
being
good
smart.
yeah, that
Yeah.
can ripple into the fear of failure and the fear of not living up, which can, rob the joy of many things for a lot of people. It can make it so that working towards, something that's really hard, instead of enjoying the process and the grind, it becomes this anxious mess of self-doubt and self-loathing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to
Leading
if
to a
and
depression.
when, you complete that or
Mm-hmm.
don't complete that, right? And
Yeah. I mean, it pushes some people to be workaholics, right?
some people, it pushes,
I mean, it depends on the person, like their personality,
yeah, obviously, right?
right?
But expectations, they, funny enough, can dictate, if you allow them, your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Not only in that aspect, but like in relationships. Like, you can be upset at someone because they didn't do something,
Yeah.
without communicating that expectation. Especially this, because this gets more into the grounds now of,
Or communicating what you'd like, or just communicating. Period. Like from a brother to a siblings, right? Maybe you need help, but you don't ask for the help, and then you in your mind you're like, just know to help me.
you just expect
You just
help.
expect the help, and then you get mad at your brother or sister because they didn't help you, and they're just like, "What you get mad at me for? What did I do?" They don't even
Mhm.
know because you didn't communicate.
Yeah,
You didn't ask for that help.
the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The mouth that opens gets fed.
Mouth that talks gets fed, right?
Yeah. No,
I think that comes
maybe I
from
screwed that one up.
that
But
comes
yeah,
that comes from baby birds, I think,
yeah.
because they go pew pew.
The
But
mouth that squeaks gets fed.
yeah.
That's the one.
So yeah, it's a big thing, and it can hurt relationships when it's not discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And expectations are tricky, because sometimes you don't even know that you have expectations of someone until you're upset. Like, why am I upset? Like when
True.
someone doesn't do something or isn't, for example, you tell someone about something that you're excited about, and
Mm-hmm.
you expect them to reciprocate the level of excitement that you're feeling, but they don't, and then now you're upset or you feel bad that they didn't reciprocate that same level of excitement
Yes.
towards that thing, and it's like, oh,
And it's so crazy. You even if you put yourself on the other end, you don't. Some people can't. Some people get excited, but the way they were raised, they weren't ever allowed that kind of, or they weren't shown that that kind of excitement was normal.
I mean, yeah, then now
You know what I mean?
that gets into like, how one expresses themselves
Yeah.
and how expressive they are and how expressive they choose to
To
be,
be.
because
But sometimes,
you can be brought up not to be expressive, but realize that that is not the normal, and then work to change that.
yeah,
Right.
like that's for me. I get excited for things, but sometimes I don't show that excitement.
Why?
And I don't
Is
think
you afraid that
it's
someone's gonna kill your joy? That someone's gonna be like, "Why are you excited about that?" Or "That's lame." Or
yeah, maybe, or maybe it's from growing up with not the excitement was not reciprocated. I remember I would grow up, do things, and you would go to your parents and you'd be like, "Look, I did this," or "Look, I created this," or "I was able to do this X thing," and they're just like, "Yeah, I knew you could do it.
that's cool, bro.
That's cool." Instead of like, "Yeah," you know, like, and then you're just like, "Oh, I guess this isn't something that I should be excited about." And so
Yeah.
I know I have that, and I've been working on being better because I just be like,
So
"Why am
what
I
you're
excited?" Like
saying?
my birthday,
So
right?
what you're saying?
I don't get excited for it, and everybody's like, "You should." I'm just like, I don't know.
So what you're saying is your parents set the expectations for what is
Excitement is
acceptable for
exciting.
visual excitement.
Yes, and what isn't?
It's pretty interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, like it's really weird to see. It's I think at the root of most expectations, right?
Yeah.
When I think of expectations and I think of people not meeting your expectations, I think of a melodrama, specifically any kind of melodrama that involves teens whose problems seem like they're the end of the world and majority of the time can be resolved with clear, open, honest communication.
Oh, it's just straight up communication.
But yet
Yeah.
they go to extremes in how they react
To
to people not meeting
they
expectations.
go around the bush and expect people to know what it is.
Yeah, like
To read minds.
like I'm sure if any of you have ever had uh, a girlfriend or a partner, it's the tried and true trope of, "Oh, I'm hungry. Okay, what do you want? I don't know.
You pick.
You pick. You know me." Like no, like
Trap.
communicate what you want.
You may know them, but I mean, as a person, how many places do you like to eat? I know you like at least 10.
At least 10, dude.
At least, I know at least 10. I like 10. So it's like, okay, I know you. What do you want me to do? Name off every one that you like until you say yes?
It's possible. I don't know.
But I understand that one. I see that one. I've been through that one.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, to everybody in the sense of not knowing which one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, kids, and when I think of expectations, I think of melodrama and, stupid high school things of, like, I can't believe he did that knowing how much it would hurt me. And it's like, well, you didn't communicate how important that thing is or the significance of that thing. And so you can't expect people to just read your mind and know what's going to happen.
It's so funny that it's the same thing happens when you're an adult in the workplace.
Yeah.
The exact same thing. It
evolves into something different.
Yeah, but the drama is not. It's not so. Oh my God.
Is that exaggerated?
Yeah, it's not so exaggerated. It's like most people just keep it inside, or they just like between coworkers of the same ranking or the same position, kind of talking. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what our boss did? Like things of that nature. It still happens, but it's expectation is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your boss or your manager has expectations of you, and you have expectations of your boss or manager.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times you can think of these expectations as assumptions, as
Mm-hmm.
auto-generated assumptions about a person.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting. You might. Where do you get these assumptions from of how a boss or a leader or a manager or leader should be? We get it from
your stimulus and what you've seen, what
your
you know,
environment, your parents, movies, TV shows,
where you grow up,
friends,
exactly,
people you
stories,
talk
etc.
to. Yeah.
100%. But the way I classify expectations in any aspect, the way I try to resolve the expectations, because far too many times in my life have I been
Disappointed,
self-disappointed with someone's actions that didn't meet my expectations, and those expectations were never addressed or communicated or spoken. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that ultimately, at the end of the day, it's gonna sound very sad, but it's not. It's the truth. It's not people that let you down. It's your expectations of those people that you place upon them.
That you internally place upon them.
Exactly.
Your friends, families, loved ones.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you never explicitly say to your friends, hey, I want you to tell me happy birthday on my birthday.
Yeah.
But you believe it to be implicitly implied
That they
should do that, because that's
Yep.
what you do on someone's birthday.
And
moreover, someone that is your friend,
Yep.
you know.
Or
and so when your friend doesn't tell you happy birthday and you get sad about it, right?
Yeah.
You can be sad if you want, or you can realize that, well, it's not the person who let you down. It's your expectations that you have placed upon that person.
But that could also be twisted, and you can take it in the sense that they don't really care about you. They might not see you in the same form of friends. I'm not saying that that's true. That
gets into a lot of into a lot of things, because it's 100% possible that the person does care, but
they just forgot,
or
they're too busy,
or they're busy, and
you are right. I understand that, but I'm saying that that's another avenue to that subject, right? To that cause. But the simplest way to go to not hurt would be to analyze it like you said.
Well, yeah, it's not
them,
it's
but
not
the expectation you put of them.
Exactly. So if you, which sounds really wrong to say, but if you lower your expectations or you don't expect anything, right?
You're less likely
to feel disappointed, and you're freed up to enjoy the things that do happen. Like, I'll use myself for an example.
You're way more excited about them when they happen.
Exactly.
Also.
Yeah, I'll use myself for an example. Birthdays. Birthday happened recently, and as per most years, I expected to get, a happy birthday text, phone call from family, mom, dad, brothers, right? And that's really, really where the line ends. Like, it's like your immediate people, like, that, at least for me.
Really close friends, family.
No, I didn't even expect it from really close friends, because I understand that, personally, I get busy with life and things, and sometimes I do forget friends' birthdays. And
so no, I done that.
It happens.
I done that.
I understand
it. Terrible.
And it's not that I don't care for them. It's that, you remember maybe 2 or 3, 4 days beforehand, and then life happens and you forget.
And then the day of something happens, right? And you forget. Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Or you wake up that day and you go, oh, I'm going to text them, at this time. And then something pops up.
Oh, yeah. You wake up, you're like, oh, I'm going to take a shower real quick. And then and then, poof.
It's gone.
Gone.
Right? But this year, I was very much pleasantly surprised, where I had an abundance of people tell me happy birthday, which I found very odd, and I was perplexed by it for a majority of the day.
Yeah. Didn't it give you a little feel good though?
No, it definitely feels good.
It brightened up your heart a little bit.
It feels good, but
you feel loved.
Yeah, but I was like, why so many people this year in comparison to other years?
I think you're just putting too much thought into it in that sense. Except
maybe you're not putting enough thought into things.
Maybe.
I feel like maybe
for my birthday, sometimes
I feel like a lot of people don't.
Only family.
Yeah.
Like, period. And even when it's not the whole family. And even then, it's not even the whole family.
And even when it's just your family, at least I like to think of it as you're blessed enough to have at least your family. Because I know there's some people that celebrate their birthdays alone that don't have family because of XYZ reason. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's, I'm obviously grateful for what I have. And I understand that, things could always be worse. But it's interesting. Expectations play such a large role in a lot of people's life, especially underlying, because a lot of people don't think about it. They don't.
You don't think you're putting expectations on somebody.
It's just like an automated,
Subconscious.
like subconscious, like
Done.
instantaneous.
It's there.
It's there. Another one is interesting.
I can give an example too.
It's a fallacy. Go ahead.
I've had. I know I do this sometimes with friends where I put the expectation that things that I would do for them, I expect in return, which I know
without saying it.
Yeah, without saying it, I know it should not be like that. Right? I should not.
I mean, it shouldn't, but I mean, like
it should,
it's
but
not
it
allowed
shouldn't.
to ask. I'm just saying.
Right? But like, can't expect it without saying it.
Exactly.
Like without communicating. Look, like I maybe I should start doing that. Right? I should. Hey, I consider you a friend, and these are the things that I would do for a friend, right? And I would like them in return from you.
Yeah.
You know, if you think they're too much, then let me know. Like, and we can just be acquaintances, not that kind of friends. Yeah. Maybe I should, but I know I've done that, and I know I got mad and offended by somebody, but I was able to be like, you know what? Like you said, it's the expectation. Right? So I was able to get over it, forgive that part of myself, right? And apologize for snapping at them or whatever I did at the time.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's so ingrained that sometimes you don't even think about it. Like
you don't think that you're doing it.
Yeah, you do it like automatically. Like you can even place upon like you smell something and that smells good to you, and your instant expectation of that is that it's gonna taste good, and we're essentially trained to do that.
But smells train you. I mean, smells train you to do that. Think about it.
Yes, but like
typically when something smells good,
everything trains you though.
No, I mean that's true.
And I think the reason why we do that as humans is because we evolved as hunter gatherers, and we learned, and we try to use that previous knowledge to predict the future, because the saying is the best predictor for future performance, the best indicator
of future performance
is previous performance, past performance. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like you can't expect yourself to run a 10-minute mile if you've never ran a 10-minute mile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you can. Like, there's some people that have the first time they run a 10-minute mile. Congratulations, good job. But you know, no one's expecting that of you, right? Because you know you don't have a basis to begin your future prediction. And as animals that have always had to rely on our intelligence to make the swing the tide in our favor,
mm-hmm.
that expectations has always served us well. And knowing like, oh, the crops have grown really well this year. The expectation there is
this time
we're gonna have a good harvest. We're gonna have a good harvest.
Yeah. Or this time next year, we should have about the same crops.
Exactly, or something of that nature. And so, it's engraved into our habits. As
so you're saying you think it's a survival thing, more likely than it's a survival habit that we've created as humans or the species.
Homo sapien sapien.
Yeah, Homo sapien sapien. That's so funny.
I love saying that.
Right? That it's engraved as a survival so that we learn and be able to predict the future, because we're not as sturdy to make mistakes or have things happen to us to survive them that often.
Exactly.
In the wilderness.
Exactly.
Right?
Right. And that extends also to, you can think about it as anything that your brain considers a danger, right? And you think of emotional pain as a form of danger.
Well,
and so you're place expectations to mitigate that,
Yeah. But then
or sometimes it goes vice versa, and you've had so much emotional pain that your expectation that your expectation is that it's gonna only lead to emotional pain. So your
Oh.
perspective has shifted now.
Yeah, I see.
Instead
I
of
see
thinking
where you went with
instead
that
of
one.
instead of thinking it's going to work out positively, your expectations
You
are
automatically assume it'll work out
negatively.
negatively.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not going to work out.
And I mean, and emotions drives us humans to do crazy things. I mean, sometimes because we expected something, we were emotionally hurt. We go and emotionally hurt
All I'm saying
someone
is
else.
wars have been waged off of love, dude. All I'm gonna phrase one of Greek mythology's greatest stories. It's the Helena of Troy and the entire war.
All wars are raged over. What is it saying?
Women, power, or wealth. I don't know that saying, but I can
It's
tell you
wealth,
that there's a
power, and love,
yeah,
right, or something like that. Yeah.
But 100%,
Mm-hmm.
100%, all wars have been waged for one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the truth, right?
It is.
It's because everyone wants to feel loved, everyone wants to feel powerful, and everyone wants to have the things that they need to survive, which is wealth.
And then some.
And then some.
I mean,
right?
no, it's not just the things you need to survive. It's
No. So the way when I phrase it like that is the emperor thinks that he needs all his wealth to live his life.
yeah,
And
greed.
to him it is a necessity. That is his truth. That is his belief. That is
Yeah.
not the truth.
It's not a fact. It's his
not
opinion.
a fact. It's his opinion. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's very much so interesting when you look at it and you see how much, like society does. Like you think about it. You think about it.
We do it for everything. We have expectations of the president,
Yeah.
of our congressmen, our representatives,
Exactly.
of the policemen, of the governor, the mayor, like everybody. People we don't even know.
Mhm.
We have expectations of strangers.
Yep. That's what I'm going to get to. So when you meet a stranger and you find out that they have one particular thing in common with you, one shared opinion,
Mm-hmm.
what happens to a lot of people, which is very interesting, and it's a fallacy that everyone commits
Mhm.
unless you're purposefully not trying to commit this
You mean
fallacy.
consciously?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Purposefully, consciously, same shit. Is that you meet someone new, they have a shared opinion as you, then you go, oh wow, this person is like me. And so therefore, they must also think like me upon all of these other items. And then
we do that.
it happens all the time. When you like somebody a lot, you think they're gonna think like you, they're gonna breathe like you, they're gonna walk like you, they're gonna view the world the same way as you.
You are putting expectations.
You're putting all these expectations instantly, and then you get upset when you realize that they're not you and they don't share every single expectation, and that they're their own person, they develop their own opinions,
Mm-hmm.
and they just so happen to share one opinion or a few opinions with you
Mm-hmm.
that you agree upon, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's funny because you see it happen, and then people say things like, "Oh, you're not the person who I thought you were." When in reality is that because they're not the person that you made them out to be in your head, because they're their own person with their own character arc, with their own flaws, with their own traumas, with their own everything that they need to go through. They're their own main character.
And they're a life, and they are the main character of that life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but you do these things reflexively.
It's insane.
It's
when you think about it, you so many things come up.
Yeah.
It's like
your world. Sometimes your entire
it's involved
worldview
in everything.
So you can look at it from another perspective too.
Yeah.
Sometimes entire people's worldviews are built up. No, they're built up on expectations.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go with the change.
No, okay. No. Watch. I'm gonna lay this out for you. People expect that life should be fair. People expect that life should be easy. People expect that equality and all these things. They have these expectations of how life should be and how life is. And now all of those things are fine and dandy. And yes, they are great things to strive for. They are things that,
But they are not what life is.
unfortunately,
Life is unfair. Life is difficult.
it's cruel.
And life is hard in the meaning of hard. And it is pain. Life is pain.
Yes, life is struggle.
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
And
And
so-
it gives meaning to your life.
Yes. And the way I like to attribute to that is that no one worth talking to, or no one interesting to talk to has ever had an easy life. That's how I attribute it. It's simple.
I mean, no one
wanna
worth
be
remembering
interesting?
had an easy life.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you want to be an interesting person, there is going to be hardship and there's going to be struggle. It may
You're
not
gonna
be
have
the
trials
same.
and tribulations.
It may not be the same lengths and extents as other people,
or highs or lows
as
as
other
others.
people's. You're not saying you have to be born an orphan and been born with cancer and then survived cancer and then gone to become the president of your country. And I'm not saying that that's what needs to happen for your life, or you need to have been abused or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying. It's just saying that if your life was always easy, normally it leads to being less interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you look at the most interesting characters. You look at any sort of fiction, and a lot of the times, the characters that are the most popular are characters that are broken, characters that are flawed, characters that have been hard, characters that have struggles.
Yeah, they have things that they've had to overcome. I
And
mean,
the
even
same
in
goes-
real life,
and the same goes for people.
the people you remember, and the people that make impressions that maybe inspire you are people that have gone through
People
things.
that inspire you are people that have had hard lives.
Yes, they have. You're just like, they were born like this, or they lived through X,
Or they
and
did,
they
or
made
they,
it to Z.
they either had hard lives or they did hard things.
Yes, or made hard choices.
Yeah, but it's just the price you pay for wanting to have nice things or good things or be interesting or accomplish things.
Accomplish
It's
your
not,
goals.
Yeah, nothing worth having
Comes easy.
ever came easy. That is one of my favorite sayings, and it's something that I remind myself when things are hard.
I like Alex Hormozy. If you're uncomfortable, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Right? This is hard. Like, that is
I
hard.
heard a saying similar to that today from my coworkers.
Like,
he said,
This is what hard is.
he said, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And then we were like, yeah, you don't know if it's a train or the sun, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And he's
That's
right.
true. He's right. There's always light. You just
Because
gotta keep going through.
Because sometimes when you're like, man, this sucks.
That was a good one.
And then sometimes it's like, man, this sucks, and like, it can't get any worse. And then life goes, hold my beer.
Oh,
Let me show you. Let me show you, but it can. And it gets worse.
Yeah. Don't
Right.
test me. Is what life says.
Right.
Yeah.
But the good thing about, which is gonna sound funny, is when life's just shit and it's at its worst, and you're at the bottom. The only place to go is up, so it can only get better from there. Right?
Yep.
So, and it's funny because people sometimes they hit their rock bottom and they're like, "That's it. This
I'm done.
This
But-
is what life is.
But
It's just shit."
it's like,
And they can't see that you're at the bottom. And yes,
Yeah.
it is shit.
that's because they quit. It's because they give up. It's like Steve Harvey says.
It's the winner's bias.
Yeah, or I was quoting Steve Harvey because he says it doesn't matter if you keep getting knocked down. He goes, as long as you don't quit, you'll make it to your goal.
Or you're not trying.
Yeah,
And
or the
either
day
one-
you quit, you're guaranteed not to get
And
there.
either one is admirable.
Yeah.
Either one is admirable. So, as long as you never quit, there's only two outcomes. Either you're going to make or reach your goal,
And you're gonna die trying.
or you're going to die trying. And either one is admirable. Both of them require you not to quit. One of
Mhm.
them has you reached your goals, and the other one has you dedicated to something, bigger than you.
You know, and maybe passed on to someone else that could finish it.
Right, exactly.
Those are the generational, like, those are the big world problems, situations,
global warming?
Right? Global warming,
climate. All right, correction, climate change.
Oh, climate change.
Because global warming makes people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Fun fact, guys, if you didn't know that, global warming, it's called global warming for many years, and then politicians decided to call it climate change because it held a nicer ring to it, and it made people less scared of what's happening.
Yeah, which less people are scared, less people are under pressure of the politicians to do
take
something,
action, to change, to change things. But it's very interesting when you look at expectations and how they form your worldview, can form how you see people, how you treat people. Expectations can make you or break you. Sometimes it makes or breaks some people. Yeah, if you have really low expectations of yourself, you may not push yourself to see what you're truly capable of.
Yep.
Because you think you're never going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. But if you have high expectations of yourself,
you're automatically
you're going to push yourself and
quitting before trying.
Yes,
in a sense,
you're assuming failure.
Yeah,
but see,
but failure is good. It's a lesson. It's something to learn.
It's good. But it's interesting because mindset also plays a large part on what kind of expectations you place.
True.
Right.
True.
Which is interesting. It's this weird, cascading, like parents' expectations can affect your mindset, which then affects your expectations, and it's or the world's expectations, or society's expectations can affect your mindset, which affects your expectations, right? Which is, it gets into this rabbit hole. It gets into this rabbit hole.
It's a giant pyramid that just keeps triangling down.
But it gets into this rabbit hole. It gets into this rabbit hole is, how do you know if what you want to do is really what you want to do, or if it's just part of the expectations that have been developed to you for your whole life and been bred to you by society and things of that nature.
Alex Hormozi talked about this. I mean, why he said he got to the point that he'd rather die than go into work at his job. He said, when I came to the realization that I would rather die than go into work, then I knew that I wasn't living the life that I wanted. My life. I was living because I was worried about my dad's expectation of me, about disappointing my dad, and that's a huge one. That's in everybody's lives, or for people that have parents. I know some don't, and they wish they would, right? But that affects a lot of us.
It's parents, and
And I got a story right now. I just talking to this gentleman on the phone, and he was telling me a story about how he started a transportation business, and he did pretty well. They got it to 15 trucks. They were making close to $2 million a year in gross revenue. But he trusted his partners, and he expected that they were doing the right. They were taking care of their part because they had split up things. He takes care of something, one person takes care of something else, and another person takes care of something else's business, right? He comes to find it's a little too late, right, that they were getting robbed by one of the three partners.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he said, he admits, he's like, it's my fault. I should have been doing better due diligence. He goes, because we were making so much money, $1,000 was like $1. He goes like, trust disappeared.
Trust but verify.
And he's like, I should have said, why? Where did this $1,000 go? He goes, $1? Where did it go? We gotta keep each other accountable. That's where I messed up.
Accountability is a big thing.
Yeah. He didn't quit. He's like, I learned my lesson. He's like, I failed, but I learned a lesson. He goes, I'm at the bottom. He learned it the hard way.
It's unfortunately how a lot of people have to learn it.
Yeah.
You don't learn you don't truly learn and embody a lesson from life into your soul as it is when you bite the bullet
When you
and
learn it
and
the
you
hard
learn it
way.
the hard way.
No, he talks about. He's like, I had to reset completely. He's like, none of my. I have one truck running now. He goes, I'm back to a 9 to 5 to start the business up again.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but now I know about looking for people who are gonna keep their word. He's like, I'm gonna make connections that are good people. It's like that we can count on each other, right? Keep each other accountable, and move forward. But now he has to start over, and that's hard.
That's another thing too. People always are afraid of failure and they lose everything. They're like, what if I have to start over?
Well, you start over.
And one of my favorite YouTubers, Mark Rober, says life is like the Mario game. It's like Mario. He calls it the Mario effect. It's like Mario.
The Mario effect.
Yeah, he's like when you pick up Super Mario Bros. and you play the game, and you run and you jump and you fall inside a hole. You don't just go, oh, I quit this game. I'm never gonna play this game again. I'm done. You go, oh, there's a hole there. Next time, I need to remember that there's a hole there, and I need to prepare so I can jump over that or find a way across it.
Yep.
And that's the same thing in life. It's that taking failure as not as the end all be all. Like, yeah, you failed. It's over. Done. No more. You don't get to play this game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But more like, no, I have more lives as long as I'm still alive. And I can.
As long as I'm alive.
I have infinite number of lives.
Mm-hmm.
And you can.
Infinite number of retries.
Exactly. And you can try it again and you can learn something.
Yep.
Right? And so it's something that, that I truly believe in, and it's something that I think that more people need to adapt,
Yep.
And
I think that expectations, it comes in play there too. I mean, you're afraid of failure because
success is not failing.
Yeah.
Success is the opposite of failing.
No, success is failing multiple times.
No, but the way people talk about it.
Yeah, the way it's portrayed and talked about. Yeah, but most people
don't talk about like, yeah, I failed 15 times before I figured this out.
They talk about the one time that they succeeded,
exactly,
and they only talk about that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know who I watched this. I don't know if she was a celebrity or somebody famous for something else. She was on a show, and she was talking about her father taught her a good way to think of failure differently. It really stuck with me. Her and her brother would come home every day from school, right, or anywhere, and he'd just be like, all right. He would be excited. He'd be like, so tell me, what did you fail at today? Right? And if they didn't fail at anything, he'd be like, well, that's good, but you didn't try hard enough. If you ain't failing, you ain't trying hard enough.
Yes.
And that stuck with me. I was like, man, that, because I was a kid, right?
No,
and that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, but I feel like it sticks with you no matter what, because like, it's, at least for me, the way I understand that is you put it into the perspective of, hey, you only get one chance at this thing we call life, because nobody decided to be here. Nobody was decided to be born.
So true.
And you don't know how long you're going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, hopefully, you'll be here and you'll live a full life, whatever that means. And nobody knows what's going to happen after you die. And as soon as you're born, the only thing that's guaranteed is death. So, why not push the boundaries? Why not try so hard that you squeeze every ounce and every drop of life out of this one time? Because you don't know.
As far as we get one try.
Get one try.
One real life or death try.
And so who cares about these other failures?
No,
and then
who cares about failures?
On top of that, when I think about
as long as it's not a failure that didn't kill you.
And yeah, on top of that, when I think about all these failures, right? You put it into perspective of death. Everything pales in comparison of your life ending.
Mm-hmm.
So who cares? At the end of the day, oh, you failed Oh, your boss chewed you out because you messed up and you made a mistake. Oh, you lost your job. You messed up. Okay, are you still alive? Yeah? Are you dead? No? Okay. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, keep trying,
Yeah.
and you learn something.
The movie The Last Rocky did a pretty good one on that one too.
I
When
don't
he
know.
talks to his son. You remember that one?
Oh, you're talking about like Rocky 4 or Rocky
Yeah,
5?
I think it was when he talks to his son.
Yeah. Life's gonna beat you up. The famous Rocky speech.
Yeah. The famous Rocky.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah, life is hard.
Yeah, but I really like that one as a teacher. It's another way to look at failure because a lot of people, when you talk about failure, they're just like, "No, I don't fail." They look at it so negatively, right? But it's their expectations of what succeeding is. They think succeeding is you just smart, and it just all goes right.
Hey man, all I gotta say is look at all these people that
don't
become
happen.
rich and now depressed because they believe that they believe that success is gonna make them happy. They believe that and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. I don't
Right?
think success doesn't make you happy or money. What it does is it helps relieve a big anxiety point
But yeah,
of
and what
life.
happens when that anxiety point gets relieved?
Another
You're,
anxiety
you know,
point comes up.
and yes and no. The way I view it is when you no longer have to worry about paying your next bills and you have enough money so that it's never really an issue or a thought of like buying something. It's like, oh, that's too much money.
Mm-hmm.
It frees up your mental capacity, and you start to, at least for me, it seems like the next logical conclusion is start to ask, why am I here? Because all your basic needs have now been met: food, water, stability,
Endlessly, as far as
endlessly.
Yeah.
So, what is your purpose? And I feel like that question,
That's
a
a
lot
good
of the
one to
time,
talk about for
a
another
lot of the
video,
time,
another episode.
it
Purpose.
scares people because they don't have an answer to it, because they think that their purpose was to become successful, and success is the purpose, and wealth is the purpose, and then they realize that ultimately that is nice and it helps relieve anxiety and stress for other things, but it doesn't give you a reason to live.
I mean, some of the happiest and most successful people I met aren't wealthy. They have a purpose that they strive to every day that gets them moving, and they have enough to meet their needs. Maybe
Well,
a
yeah,
little
because
bit more.
success
Like,
is defined by the person.
yeah, right? But they are one of the happiest. And I guess it's like you said, per person, point of view, what.
Purpose. It's like it's purpose or fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
because people who chase happiness end up being less happy than people who
Well,
chase fulfillment.
for me, I truly believe you don't chase happiness. You choose to be happy. Because there should be always there something in your life that you're happy about.
Yeah, but no.
At
But if you
least you're
chase
alive.
happiness, like what I mean is, like if your goal is I just want to be happy,
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
it's not the right goal.
No.
I mean, yes, happiness is nice, it's important, but what I feel like those people fail to understand is that you literally can't be happy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately, life is not a straight line that just is, happy all the time. It's really high highs, down to some lower highs, down to some fucking shit, down to somewhere in between, down to some, back up and then back down, and it's this up and down and up and down, and you know, and you can maintain
It's a nice
a
wave.
level of contentness with your situation, which is what you're talking about. Is you choose to be happy because
you look at the better stuff.
you look at the bright side, because
Yeah.
like it can always be worse.
What? I mean, positivity attracts positivity.
Yeah.
Right.
And so your goal shouldn't be happiness. Your goal should be fulfillment in what you do, and experiences. Like they did a study They said people who spend their money on material things are less happy than people who spend their money on experiences. And they say that if you want to remember your life, chase experiences
Mm-hmm.
and not material things. Like you look at it, when you look at it back, you remember the first time you bought a car. Why? Because it was the first experience with buying a car.
Yep.
First time you buy a house. You remember that. Why?
Yep.
First time.
Mm-hmm.
The 10th time you buy a house, you're like, I bought that house, I don't know, whatever.
2015.
Right?
Whatever. Yeah. You barely even remember. You barely remember the year.
The first time you do X, Y, or Z, the first time you accomplish something on your own, you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
First time your kid says Dada, or says his name, or says their name.
Yeah. You remember your kids first.
Exactly.
Yeah. You remember your relationships first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the experiences. Everyone remembers their first love.
Yep. It's the experience of the first love, not because it's your first love.
Well, because it's your first time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's not your actual. It's not the love that you missed. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not the one that got away per se. It's you're remembering the experience of what it's like to love, like that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like.
Look at that face.
Yes. It's.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by your first love isn't like the first person you ever loved. In the sense of like a romantic sense. Your first love, I mean, it's like your first heartache.
Yeah.
The first person who broke your heart. The first relationship that was serious enough for you to hit a milestone
from it.
To hurt from it.
Okay.
Right. Every relationship is going to hurt when it comes to an end, be it romantic, platonic, familial.
Yeah.
Right. But you remember the first because it's your first time dealing with that experience, that new experience. Yeah,
true.
Expectations are crazy.
Yeah, they're everywhere in everything.
Mm-hmm.
That we as Homo sapiens do. We as humans. I like that word. But yeah, it's wild.
Yep. So if you guys took anything away, remember that expectations are the thief of joy, and remember that it's okay if it's hard, because nothing worth having ever came easy.
Yep. And remember, if you didn't fail today, you just didn't try hard enough.
And that's okay.
There's always tomorrow.
Yep. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one.
Take care.
Bye-bye.